Welcome back. Skill Incarnate with another episode of Project Zomboid. When we last left, I had consolidated my base and had basically grabbed the essentials, including a saw, a hammer, a trowel, some seeds, and just some basic food. Dragged with me my big pallet of food, which nearly killed me. Still, I want to try and not rely on that food and get a farm going. As you can see, we have a farm here, 4 plots. Reason why I've done it this way is to prevent disease from spreading between crops. For some reason, keeping 2 spaces apart tends to avoid that. I've created this rope ladder system here. As you can see, I've blocked the door so that zombies can't get into my base. That is the strongest early wall that you can make. It will take quite a big zombie horde, so it'll keep stragglers out for the foreseeable future. What I'm going to do now, the one thing I'm missing is water. So at a random point, water will stop being available in the game. I don't really want that to happen right now because I don't have the means to create a water collector. So what I'm going to do is grab every item in the game that can store water and fill it with water now. So what we're looking for here are IBCs, which are basically large water containers, the biggest you can get in the game. I saw some earlier, but I didn't grab them due to prioritization. Fish tanks will also work. They're not as big, but they'll do in a pinch. We're looking for IBCs, fish tanks, egg cooking pots, anything that can basically store water. Just enough to give me a chance to level up my carpentry skill enough so I can actually make a water collector. There are no nearby lakes that I have seen. And more importantly, if they were, getting there would probably be suicide with this level of zombie hordes. My goal is to basically get as many things as I can set up here in the next day or two, which is food, water, yeah, just mainly food, water, weapons. Weapons I've taken care of because we've got these wooden stakes now, which are fine as far as a early game weapon goes. I use them almost exclusively, except when there's a very large horde, when I end up running away when there's usually a horde that gets too big. Now I know I saw an IBC in here somewhere. One IBC can give us enough water to last us for a week. And that's what we need. We really want about 2 or 3 of these IBCs. I'm not seeing much though, unfortunately. We're just really fortunate to be in an area of town that's really well stocked. I don't even know what some of these new items do. I haven't. I guess this is a good chance to talk about the Hydrocraft mod. I did touch on it in my last episode. The 2 mods that we're playing with are the Hydrocraft mod, which is made by Hydromancer X. I'll add a link in the YouTube video for you. The Hydrocraft mod's the single largest mod of all the ones that I've seen. It adds a massive amount of content into the game. For things as simple as just creating extra items, extra just rubbish items, and also extra craftable items. It adds items, it adds extra weapons, it adds a whole livestock system, it adds mining, it adds smelting metal, it adds different chemistry. You can make chemicals. You can make your own medicine. It expands the loot table for foraging. It just adds just a ridiculous amount of stuff, and I mean I can't recommend it enough. In my opinion, it's the best Project Zomboid the best Project Zomboid mod there is. And if I was a bit more of an accomplished programmer, I'd be looking in that area myself. So, I mean, props to Hydromancer X for making a fantastic mod. For me, I play with it on by default. And my only criticism, and it is a small one, is that late game it does make you actually really powerful. So, for example, there's a particular item called the dog whistle, which allows you to get a dog. And in itself, that doesn't sound like a really big advantage, but one of the dog types lets you basically get livestock. And when you can get livestock, you can basically have infinite animals. And for me, I'm just basically rolling in food. I had so much food. The other thing that it does do is it adds weapons to the game that you can readily create. The first one being the one that's in my hand at the moment, which is the wooden stake. Now, I guess my one argument against that being silly is that in your real life situation, it would be easily adaptable to make a stake. I mean, I could go out into my back shed and go and make one now. If you go gardening, you know, it's something that's fairly accessible to anyone. So as much as it's a gripe, it's probably only really a minor one. And really, the mod adds so much to the game that it's not really a big deal. But yeah. The only other thing I noticed though, that once you get a mine, and once, like, we're at the moment we're up against it being early game, but once you get a mine, and you get your stuff in order, you're never gonna need, I don't know what that fishbowl does, so I'll take it. You're never gonna need anything again. You can pretty much just sit in your base. And you know, as long as you've got defenses, you're pretty much set. Unfortunately, I haven't found anything. I'll grab that. So anyway, back to Hydrocraft. A lot of these items that you're seeing here are Hydrocraft mod items. It increased the loot table, increased a lot of different things. You can get so much stuff, and the end game is so far away. It took me, you know, probably over 2 months of real time to actually, there we go, that's what I was looking for, the IBC, to actually get to that point. So it's not like you're at end game and I've got everything in the game now straight away. It does take some time to get to that stage, but once you do, you're pretty much set. The other thing I'm playing with, the other mod I'm playing with, is the Ortman's Guns mod. Now this has a lot of criticism in terms of it makes the game unbalanced. Personally, I don't think that. The reason, there we go, some ciggies. The reason why is that it, I used the Ortman's Gun mod in my last playthrough. I ran into town and fired off a shotgun thinking, it'll only attract a few zombies. I had half the zombies on the map after me. It was ridiculous. Now, there's probably a bit unrealistic in that, you know, you get every single zombie on the map after you. But Pheonix is not part of the main Project Zomboid map in that you can't go to Muldrow, for example, which is the stock Zomboid map. Whereas in other towns like Drayton, or if you've watched any of No Miss's YouTube videos, you basically can go to the different towns, the stock towns, in addition to the add-on towns that you're in. They overlay on the main towns. So anyway, I didn't think it was much of an unfair advantage, because it just simply it made it too dangerous for me to fire off guns. You just get killed. So it meant that I had a gigantic collection of guns that I couldn't really do a lot with. So to that end, the last mod that I'm playing with is a new one that I saw on Steam called the Ortman's Silencer mod. So basically what that does, I've just noticed there's some zombies banging on the doors downstairs. I'm curious of how close they are. This is getting a bit scary. So yeah, the Ortman Silencer mod gives you silencer for your gun. It has a stock silencer, and also you can create one out of I believe a flashlight, and you can use a flashlight and a screwdriver. I don't know if you need tape, but basically it lets you create a silencer for your gun. I believe it takes about 90% of the noise away, so it makes it actually to the point where you can use the gun and just not die. Because I wasn't using the guns to kill zombies, I was using them to distract them. I'd run to the other side of town, fire off a few shots, and then run away, and then they just every single zombie in the town. So it was almost OP in that area, where you could manipulate the zombie hordes and have them go whichever way you wanted, because you had control over where they went, because you could just get your gun out and fire a few shots in the air. The next thing I need to do is work out who's banging on that wall, because it doesn't sound like it's coming from outside. I think some may have actually found their way inside. So the next thing I'm doing now is, I'm just basically future-proofing. The water's going to go out soon. There is a multitude of different places to get water from in this cinema. There's toilets everywhere. There's sinks, as you can see. So really, I don't think I'm going to run out of water anytime soon, but seeing as water's one of the most commonly needed resources in the game, it makes sense to stockpile, which is precisely what I'm doing. The IBC too, that thing is massive. There'll be enough water in that to last me for a long time. The other thing about the Tupperware containers is that they can be used as storage for water, which is what I generally do early game. When I get a stable water source, then I can, like my water collector. The other thing about water in this game is that you have to boil all of it, which I thought was silly at first, but when you think of it, having a collector out in the middle of where birds can crap on and everything, it makes sense. So hopefully, that's a lot of water containers I've just filled up now. Nice, we've got even more canteens. So I'm just basically, the first part of the game is, for me, is usually consolidating resources, getting everything that you need set up, food, water. I don't have a lot of medicine, that'll be the next thing I need. Tools, so that when winter hits, so there's two things that you need to worry about, apart from obviously being killed by zombies. One, the water will go out, the power will go out, and two, the problem with winter. So winter comes, you basically have 5 months or so to prepare. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not, trust me. And when you finally get winter, all your crops stop. Well, they don't stop growing, but they grow at a fraction of the speed they did before. And that means that you've basically got to survive without your crops, or at least with your crops operating at a fraction of the speed they normally do. Can basically be suicide if you don't have everything set up. So what I've got now is I've got food, I've got water, I've got tools. I'm gonna grow some broccoli. I'm gonna see what other crops I've got. I'm pretty sure I picked up some. No, I didn't. I was hoping I'd picked up some cabbage seeds. Cabbage is the best crop in the game. Unfortunately, I don't have it. But I do have a close second, which is the potato. Potato's good. I'm just going to go get some water. That really sounds close. There we go. Alright. I've got some menstrual pads, diapers. A lot of this stuff is added by the Hodgecraft mod, I should say. And it's nice that they've got rubbish items, because the game did feel a bit clean, like it. That's real just distracting, those zombies bashing away at that door. I'm going to hunt them down and take them out. So I'm going to plant my potatoes first. The potatoes are your super crop. Well, they're one of the best crops. And the reason why is because they last a really long time before they go off. So as you can see, the food went rotten in my inventory. And we really don't want that happening. We don't want that happening early game if we don't have a fridge, which is unfortunately that was my problem. Basically, oh here we go, we've got more down here. My problem was that I didn't have a fridge. Unfortunately, there's no fridge here for a cinema. That's quite strange, but. Basically, I've got plenty of water. I've got water stored. I've also got 3 toilets worth of water, and yes, you can drink water out of a toilet. And no, there are no ill effects for doing so. Just strange, but that's the way it is. I'm going to keep my crops small here because I don't have a very good farming skill. Now, just a word into skills again. Sprinting's one of your most useful skills in the game. You really need to get sprinting up as soon as possible. Because without sprinting, you can't do anything basically. You can see how much faster I can run now just with 1 point in sprint. Probably the first point is the most useful in sprint, because you run slow as an old granny without any points in sprint, and you will die. Okay, next thing. Oh, I love it when I finally get that first point of sprint. So we're going to plant some broccoli next. Broccoli's not the best crop, but it'll do in a pinch. I'm really only using this just to get some food put aside. What I really need is to get some books. So the books in Project Zomboid give a boost to your skills, to the accumulation of your skills. A lot of this stuff I couldn't really talk about because we're in the middle of trying to stay alive, but now we've got a base established. Basically, you need books to boost your skills, and they're not as important earlier in the game because you're just trying to scramble around trying to find somewhere to stay alive. So probably in the next, after I get all this planted and set up, the next thing I'm going to be doing is going into town, trying to sneak past, get food, get some, oops, wrong scroll. I don't have any more, that'll do for now. Yeah, get food, get water, just get the basics of what I need, and maybe try and work out who's banging away at the door. Yeah, so that's going to be next. It's going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy trying to get into town, but we need to do it because, as you can see, I sure as hell don't have a lot of food. Chuck this katana away. Katana is a oh crap I'm going to die weapon. I usually never take it on my travels. I'll leave it in base. Well, basically, put that there. We've got a hedge trimmer. We've got everything we need, basically. We need to get a system set up for my tools and so forth, but before we do anything we need a book on carpentry, and that's going to be, I might go for a run now. First we'll rest. So to recap, we've got our crops, we've got a base semi set up. We've got the base blocked off. We have a one-way in and out, which only we can use. We just have to be careful we don't obviously tip ourselves over the side and knacker ourselves. The one thing I don't have a lot of is food, which I'm going to go get. I'm going to make a little stop off up north here. Start stocking. I don't want to be looking within this base because this is going to be our last resort. Everything in here is relatively safe. I have walls up as long as we don't have any alarms going off, and God help me if that happens. We're pretty safe here. I'm guessing that this is all cleaned out. That's a shame. Aluminum rolling pins. Some more tools in here. Oh, sweet. There's some. I'm going to leave the food where it is because there's no point me taking it back to base because it will just go off. What I am looking for at the moment is a bowl. And the reason for that is... Oh, there was a saw there too. See, it's always where you least think, and a sledgehammer. Now that is a classic, we need that. Because that will let me expand that base. I can knock walls out. It's not so much of a big deal where we are. Whoa. Because we kind of got everything we need there. We've got an outdoor plan. We've got an outdoor area. We've got everything we need. It's more about. See, this is the problem with this gate. They're gonna keep getting in no matter what. And this is why you can see having the